Hit the button.
We'll start her off.
Hit the button.
Hold on a second.
Hit the button.
What did I say about my
We just have
letters?
a freaking earthquake.
Huge.
Hit the button, not the table.
Look, he's gonna try to sneak something.
Loose?
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Lay down, boy.
Don't do it, bud.
Lay down, Moose.
All right. Welcome back to the Okayest Cook Podcast. I am Chris Whonsetler, the host, and I'm joined by my three co-hosts. And I'm going to introduce them ranked by who I think takes the most shells to shoot one duck out of the sky. And we've alluded to this,
Did we do this one?
on other podcasts.
Okay.
I don't think I've officially ranked you via my opinion, but I think we've talked about it.
Okay. Just making sure.
So we have Colton Heiniger
as the
Andy
least
Heiser,
amount of shells.
Cory Cole.
As the least or most?
The least or the most? What is it?
I thought for sure I'd be the most on that
So,
list. I'm the least experienced.
Here's the interesting portion of it. You've gone with all three of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All four of us have not done a freaking duck hunt yet.
Whose
together.
fault is that?
Together.
Duck people.
That's not my fault.
I just wear the hats.
It's my fault. My time is limited.
Yes, it's well, we're all small business owners. We're all family men. It's tough.
Yeah, I didn't get to go out this year.
I went out I actually shot my first pintail with Colton,
It was awesome.
Yeah.
and I watched Andy shoot his first mallard,
Mhm.
which is super
Yeah.
cool.
One of my favorite pictures. I think it's actually my Instagram photo. Correct?
Yeah, I think I only went out 3 or 4 times. I didn't go out much either.
I had multiple times. I emptied all 3 shells on a duck and didn't hit anything. So,
I've been there. I have been there. I will say, of all my 5 years duck hunting, 6, maybe 7 years waterfowl hunting, I've only limited out 3 times.
I never have.
So, and I think most of that's just due to not finding a sweet honey hole.
yeah.
But
Which-
it was a tricky year here in Indiana. It was really, really
Yeah.
dry.
Yeah.
So I know my favorite farm pond was just for past 2 seasons. It's been dried up, and I haven't been able to hunt.
Okay.
Yeah. We
Which
need to
blows.
get we need to connect with the Robertsons.
Yeah,
And get on a hunt with them.
Yes. Well, on that note, let's talk about our notable meals of the week, and I'm going to diverge today. I'm not going to talk about food for this meal, but I'm going to talk about fitness. So it's a pillar, and I brought this. It's a medal to a race I have not ran yet. It is the DU Dash. It's Ducks Unlimited. I'll pass this around here. It's a Ducks Unlimited 5K that they are doing June 16th, and more how the sausage is made. We filmed this episode in advance, so I do not know if this is coming out before or after this dash. It might be old news. It might be coming up still. So June 16th is the Ducks Unlimited DU Dash, and it's a 5K. Their slogan, put some throttle in your waddle. And they do not, it's a virtual 5K. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you buy the medal, you get it ahead of time, and, supporting Ducks Unlimited in the process. But this is my official.
Are you going to run?
I'm going to try.
I'm going to hold you to it.
If you can't tell by my exquisite physique here, I don't work out the most. I'm probably the least active out of the group here. But this is my commitment. I've got the medal, so I have to do the 5K.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm going to try my
I feel
darndest
like
to run the
that
whole
thing
thing.
should go home with one of the two of us until you run.
No.
I feel like you need to wear that the rest of this episode, Chris.
No, he can't. He hasn't run it yet.
Andy's going to
He
hold on to
can't
my
wear
medal
it
until I actually do
I want
the
to
I
watch
like
it.
it. I dig it. There
Don't
we
worry,
go.
DU. I'm going to make sure he does
sad.
it.
He took my medal.
He can't just buy a medal online. What is this?
It's the process. It's the process.
What do they
It's
they
virtual.
call that? Stolen valor.
I don't know. This is participation trophies that are.
It is.
Yeah.
It basically is. So
Awesome.
that is my commitment
That's
to
awesome,
actually
man.
starting to work out.
We'll check back in a couple episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make
Yes,
sure you
June
did it.
16th. Yeah. Like I said, if that's before or after the release of this episode, yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
Nice.
Awesome.
I had a notable meal of the week that was maybe not a positive.
Oh, okay.
Notable, so mixing it up.
Qualifies.
I think I mentioned just getting into cooking steaks more recently. We did a steak episode. I had a ribeye this week that this took me down a notch. I thought I was getting pretty good at doing ribeyes on the charcoal grill, and whatever happened, too much fat rendering or whatever, I went inside for like 2 seconds and came back out, and my whole grill was like on fire and just singed the heck out of this thing. It was it was black. I normally cook my internal temp to about, I think I take them off at like 130 for like a good, medium rare. When I temped it was like 180.
Oh my gosh.
It was dry as a bone. So
How much beef? I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
So how much beef have you been cooking, like in relation to venison lately?
100% more.
Oh yeah, because
I'm
I
out
forgot
of
that your
venison for the
situation was a
year,
little bit low for you this year.
So and I mentioned it before, we got a quarter of a cow, so I'm just burning through all my beef steaks right now.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
I have the most ribeyes, and coincidentally, it's my favorite cut. So I love ribeye.
Ouch, that hurts.
What about you guys?
Andy?
Well, kind of following suit with this, it's kind of we're several episodes into this, and actually this was actually more of a meme that was sent over to me, but it was a realization that I kind of came to as well after, now that we've like kind of focused more on cooking in general, we've gotten a little bit better at it. It's really shined a light on how some of the local restaurants are mediocre at best at doing some of the things that I'm like, man, oh man, I could do this better at home, or like I'm getting to the point where like you can. So I had a meal. I don't really want to name the place. I don't even really name what the meal was, but it really tasted like, it was like one of those things where it's like I could finally pick up on, this is what you've done wrong type of scenario.
Yeah.
So to kind of follow suit,
Kind of like the steaks Cory had at that hotel ages ago.
Yeah, it's just like, man,
that's sad.
it's super unfortunate. But I will say, on the plus side of that, to kind of not make this a negative thing, I just feel like it goes to show that just putting a little bit of effort into getting a little bit better at cooking, you can start noticing some of these differences and just really enjoying making your own food at home. So
yeah, it's the blessing and the curse.
It's
correct.
cheaper.
Yeah.
It's cheaper, yeah.
I too, I had a fail.
Oh no, what happened this week?
Well, and I will say that the cooking part wasn't a fail. It was, I am starting to try to do, I don't know if I want to call it a modified carnivore, or whatever we want to call it.
You mentioned that with Jason's episode.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm
a few weeks
doing,
ago.
I'm maintaining some fruit in my diet, and so like berries and bananas. So I attempted to do a sausage and egg bowl. Getting the protein up. I think I will struggle a little bit with the carnivore just because I can't have dairy. Maybe once I get into it and I can tolerate, I might try some raw milk, because apparently you can tolerate that a little bit better if you have a dairy sensitivity. However, my eyes were bigger than my stomach, and I made 6 eggs on top of a half pound of sausage.
That's so much.
And one meal? For one meal. And I ate the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
And I just felt disgusting the rest of the day. I literally did not eat the rest of the day.
No, I believe it.
I think I had some blueberries in the evening just for the anti-inflammatory properties. That was, I ate it. I texted my wife. I was like, because she was downstairs working and I was upstairs. She was
just like, help me.
I was like, this was stupid. And she says, yeah, dude, you should have cut it in half.
Oh my gosh.
I really I'm just doing your macros in my head on what that meal would be, and you're probably over your total fats for the day for sure. And
for sure.
On protein, 60% of the way there, if not more than that, in one meal.
Yeah,
so that probably hurt.
Yeah, well, 6 eggs
too much
was
for
what? Like, what's that, 30, 30, between 40 and 50.
Right.
Oh man.
Plus a half a pound of sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the big ugly challenge at Bub's in Carmel. Have you guys done that?
So So this morning,
Frank's a killer of it. Frank's been on that wall. He's got one of the big pictures.
Oh, that's
He did more than one?
Oh, he's done. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Of course he has.
Oh my god.
It's Frank.
No.
So
He'll
this
eat
morning
them at lunch just to like prove a point to
Oh my
people.
gosh.
Yeah.
I did it once, and like Cory said, like I've never been. I
Felt
went
so
to bed
gross.
and I woke up the next morning still completely
Still
full.
sick.
I'm like, I will never eat a pound of meat.
So this morning I did. I don't know how much it is, but I just cut. Because we got the big package of it, the sausage. I cut 2 lines this time instead of. I think it was
Half of it.
6.
Jeez. Yes.
Moderation,
Well,
folks.
let's take your egg story and just dive into that
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I don't think I said it earlier today, but earlier this episode, but we're talking eggs.
Eggs.
We're not drawing the line anywhere. If it's an egg, we'll talk about it maybe a little bit as soon as mics get figured out.
Sorry.
We're okay at this still. We're only a few episodes in. Yeah, so eggs. Colton, in a couple episodes has mentioned that he's probably the most knowledgeable on the egg topic at this table.
I don't know about that.
You own chickens, dude. Come
You
on.
have 30 chickens.
You own chickens, so you are the most knowledgeable.
I'm in the infant stages of owning chickens still.
It's more than
They're
me.
they're teenagers.
I eat a ton of eggs. That's all I know about them. though.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The rest of us just eat them. Yeah, you're making them.
You're making them.
Well, kind of.
Well,
They will be making them soon.
yes. Well, where do we want to start here? We could just start
Let's-
store versus farm, and then
Yeah.
we'll get into how we're eating eggs. And
Yeah.
Before we dive into like store bought or farm bought, because fitness is one of the pillars, and we kind of alluded to this in Cory's story. One of the biggest issues, especially with fitness and nutrition, is people tend to actually struggle to get their protein in. Getting protein, the proper protein amount, there's a calculation for this. It is, to be super nerded out here, it is you take your weight in kilograms and you multiply that by 0.8. So do the math there. You can kind of figure that all out. Or for dirty math, take your weight, divide it in half usually. Or usually you want to eat your weight in protein in grams is kind of like what most people do, or just under. So
Yeah.
if you're trying to maintain 175 pounds, you can get 170 grams of protein or so. Just shy of that is kind of a good benchmark. So that's a high number to hit in a day.
Yeah.
It really is if you start thinking about what it is. But one of the greatest like tricks to that trade is just eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a great source of protein. So I just wanted to, before we get into like whether you're getting them from the store or you're getting them from the farmer's market, don't skip on eggs. It's a really easy way to get your protein numbers up. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to like make a point there, since it is one of our pillars. That it's kind of a cheat code when you try to get your proteins up.
Yeah,
So,
I'll be honest. Even with that, I still struggle.
Yeah, it's tough.
Mine is I think I'm supposed to have 125. I think, or 130.
Yeah.
I think with the journey that I'm on right now. So, dude, that is hard
right.
to hit.
Especially if you're trying to keep your fats in check, and that's where like chicken's great. So from eggs
Chicken,
as well.
eggs, yep.
But there's a lot of things you can do too to negate some of the fats by just maybe pulling out some of the yolk as well.
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah. So eggs.
Eggs.
Colton, hit us with maybe it's like why own chicken? Why do you own chickens?
Why do you have 30 of them?
So we can sell some of the eggs to you
By
guys.
foxes.
Yeah, half will end up dying from raccoons.
That's dark.
Yeah. No, I mean, the biggest reason why we got chickens is we've known people that have had chickens and we've had the eggs. And without getting into any science or anything like that, I mean, go get local eggs from somebody and taste
So much
those
better.
compared to what you get at the store.
Yeah.
Not that store eggs are bad, but it's just night
They're
and
bad.
day.
Yeah,
They're
Well, it's
bad.
night and
They're
day
bad,
difference.
but they are bad.
Yeah.
If we're gonna compare, yeah,
Yeah.
soup and nuts here.
Well,
Yeah,
and
they're bad.
and Jason talked about that. The air quality that those. You're talking about. Where was it just recently? Didn't a freaking chicken farm, another one, go up in flames not too long
didn't hear
ago?
about this.
300,000 chickens.
Oh, jeez.
300,000 chickens.
It's a lot of eggs.
I think the number that Jason said that stuck with me was that when he was asking his friend how many more chickens could you sustain, and he said tens of thousands. But
Yeah.
I appreciate my chicken's quality of life. So
Yeah.
like what they fit
Well, I
into
think that
these
was more of
facilities.
the demand
Well,
wasn't
yeah.
there for him to sell that
Yeah.
chicken
Yeah,
meat.
true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, he
But they just the facilities that they pack these things into, the lifestyle that they lead, how long it takes it to get from the chicken to your pan is just insane versus going to the farmer's market and getting them there, or a friend, or...
Well, Colton, you put some stuff in the notes. Like, hit us with some facts here on timeline.
So by law, you essentially have 30 days from the time an egg is laid to get it packaged in the store. And then the store has to sell it within 30 days. So what that means is anything that you buy at the store on average is probably at least a month old.
Jeez.
Versus, I mean, if you have your own chickens, you're eating them the same day. So that's significant difference in just how old the egg is right there.
But potentially up to 2 months old.
Correct. Yeah. Potentially up to 2 months.
Following all the rules.
And you can do a pretty easy, simple test at home. Have you guys ever heard of the water test?
Yeah.
No.
Floats.
Say it.
Yeah. So as eggs, shells are porous. So over time, air leaks into the shell. So if you drop an egg in a glass, how much the egg floats tells you how old it is. So if it sinks and is sitting on the bottom of the glass, it's, within a couple days old. As it starts, if it's floating kind of halfway up in the glass, it's a couple weeks old at that point. If it's at the top of your glass, it's over a month old at that point.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
So not necessarily bad, just old.
Yeah, not bad, but old. And with that, the egg whites start to degrade right away too. So that's where, like, if you get a good fresh egg, it comes out like gelatin, that egg white, which we'll get into later as well. But specifically, if you're doing stuff like poached eggs, the fresher the eggs, that white solidifies a lot better. Versus you get an old egg from the store and then you get just egg white everywhere, and it just gets. That's where sometimes you get that real runny part versus the more solidified part in the middle. That just means it's an old egg.
Well, I'm assuming like the nutritional value decreases rapidly.
It's got to,
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Well, anytime you're introducing air to most foods, meat especially, I would consider egg, with all the protein, it's in the meat family, right? Like on the old school pyramids that they don't do anymore apparently. But you're
wrong
if
It's wrong, but
it is what it is. In my mind, an egg is meat.
It's a meat product.
Air is touching that meat, so that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So bad things happening. Yeah. So and we got to talk.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say the other. That was the main thing, just taste difference. Even if you don't care about quality of what you're getting, whatever. The taste is just better. I don't think any of us.
What leads to that taste?
So there's a lot of things that go
farm
into
eggs?
that, but we also care about just what goes into our bodies, what goes into our chickens, and there's a lot of misinformation is the wrong word, but bad advertising, bad labeling. There's all these buzzwords on egg cartons nowadays that are
again, Jason kind of alluded to this in our local farming episode, that if you just follow the money back, oftentimes a lot of these things that you think are what is normal or what is true is actually it's an advertising, it's a marketing ploy to better sell the thing that they have a lot of and maybe takes 60 days to get to you. So
And that's where we just kind of got into, we're kind of going on this, getting more and more into kind of homesteading type things. And the better taste, like you were saying, Chris, comes a lot of times from the chicken's diet. And a lot of these mass chicken farms, they're not necessarily feeding them bad food, but it's all the same food versus how chickens, how they like to feed free range. The reason why those are a lot better tasting normally is they're feeding on insects, grubs. They love food scraps, stuff you would normally throw in your compost pile. So that's why we're going to hopefully, just from a sustainability standpoint too, save some of our stuff that we're not going to compost to go throw in with the chickens and have them eat that and kind of reuse some of that stuff that way. So
nice, yeah.
And keep in mind too, Colton lives in a neighborhood. Some obviously there's HOAs and stuff like that. You can't have them, and I know they're your mother-in-laws and all that stuff. But when we moved in here, my entire fence is covered in chicken wire. I guarantee you, the people that own this before us had chickens back here. And we have a massive yard, and they can be registered, now as emotional support.
It's an emotional support chicken
that gives me food.
I know a guy who's in Carmel, and he's got a ton of chickens.
Yep.
And
you just have to check with your rules. There's a lot of rules on it, and then also I know we're gonna get into
There's
like
HOA
how many
rules and like city ordinances.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so do your due diligence.
Yes.
Or just move out to the country.
Or just move to the country.
Yeah.
Or find a family member or friend who lives in the country.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
But,
we talk a lot about the farmers market on here. That's the best place to go and get eggs if you don't know somebody that's already doing it. We have Colton, we have some friends of ours that we're very close with, where we get our cow from, our beef. They also have chickens. We get some from them as well. So I guarantee you, more than likely, considering like this massive push towards homesteading, it's like this generation is jumping back to that. You probably know somebody that has chickens or has a friend that has chickens that
I
you
almost
can get your eggs
guarantee
from.
you, like at your church or school or somewhere,
work.
there's somebody that's gonna have chickens.
And then another great place to look too. That this is where I almost exclusively buy my eggs when farmers markets aren't always available for me from a timeline standpoint. But the most butcher shops carry eggs typically from wherever they get their chicken meat from. They usually will offer eggs as well, or they have a hookup somewhere that is usually from a local farmer. So if you have a good butcher shop that you go to, I bet you there's eggs there nearby. And there's 3 different butcher shops here in Indy that I frequent. Kincaid's, Joe's, and Moody's, and all 3 of them have eggs from a local farmer that are delivered there.
That's good to know. I did not know that.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see some.
Die.
We're gonna find some Heininger eggs at some of these shops.
Yeah.
Here coming up soon.
Yeah.
Well, back to diet real quick. What exactly are you feeding your chickens? Like, do you know, like the whole breakdown yet, or?
We're feeding them a base of organic chicken feed. I don't know what's all in it.
It's not the base, but then like I said, you're doing the free range in there.
Yeah, so
bugs and
that's
stuff.
kind of a base just to make sure they get enough.
Yeah.
But then free range, we're building out a big free range section right now with where they'll eat grass, insects, scrubs, and then we're going to plant a variety of almost like garden variety plants, like some
chicken
tomatoes and stuff. Yeah, because they love snacking on that kind of stuff. So
Have you seen that Chef's Table episode where they talk about the chicken farmer who only feeds his chickens peppers? So apparently chickens don't have like whatever taste bud that is. They can eat peppers and not like the spicy capsaicin oil doesn't affect them at all. So this farmer chef was like only feeding his chickens like hot, spicy peppers, and the yolks come out like fire orange.
Really?
Like
That's
it is
cool.
a beautiful egg. But just talking about that whole and I think it was that episode the farmer talks like, hey, like we are what we eat, but we're also what we eat, what it eats.
Yeah.
So like the cycle goes down. So like you got to pay attention to this.
Did they talk about? Did the heat come with it?
No.
That's
Interesting.
I wonder if
but just their diet influenced the color of the egg yolk.
Yeah, because I've had eggs that are different colors, and I know that comes from a variety of what they're eating. So you'll get eggs even from the same set of your chickens you'll have different colorations and yolks and shells.
And that's dependent on the type of chicken.
Yeah.
Because there's specific types that will lay the different colors like that.
Yeah.
But then those types, what they eat, like you're saying, kind of
also influence the color.
Yeah.
So you're talking like shell color, right?
I was talking about both there,
Both,
but just like even if you have the same chicken that, let's say all you have eggs from the same type of chicken species, I guess. I don't know.
Store-bought eggs.
Whatever. But they're depending on what they are eating at the time, you'll still get different colorations in yolk
for sure.
So
But typically rich, thick, hearty yolks.
Yeah, there's like
these farm eggs.
Was there something like 200 and something breeds of chicken? I had no idea.
There's some crazy ones out there.
We even have some crazy ones.
I just knew that there were chickens.
We have, for everyone listening, just look up this breed of chicken. We got these ones called Polish Fizzles, I think they're called,
Polish
and
Fizzle.
they look wild. I didn't even realize we ordered them, but
They're the ones with like the crazy afros.
yeah, they have like a
Yeah.
white afro on them. They like can't even. I don't even know how they see.
That's awesome.
Yes. Well, there's even chickens with like black skin and like
yeah.
I don't know what kind of eggs they lay, but
chicken
idea.
eggs.
like I think Danielle Pruitt posted about one where she found a chicken that was lost, and I forget this whole story, but I think she ended up butchering it and eating it, but like I think the whole chicken, like the skin was just like
Daniel's
so
like, you know
dark and
what? You're
wild. And,
You look awesome. You're going to look even better on my plate.
yes, we'll have to research more of that episode.
Which there, I guess one other thing that I just thought of for the live chicken, the plug here to get your own chickens is, you know, when you get them from the store, they're already washed. So I was going to touch on real quick, just like the washed versus unwashed. When eggs are washed, I don't know exactly what it's called. I think it's called the bloom. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a protective coating when they lay their eggs, and that gets all scrubbed off, and then they're refrigerated. At that point, then they only last for so long in the refrigerator. Versus if you have your own, we just like dry brush the egg. So then they're good on the counter for up to a month, and then you can refrigerate them.
Jeez.
So, I mean,
go ahead.
when they're over a month old, they're not going to taste as good, just like the store-bought ones. But it just gives you a little more flexibility as far as, you know, if you're getting more eggs than you need, like they'll last a lot longer, and you don't have to refrigerate them right away.
Well, dude, that's why I got into canning meat. It's like, because if you're low on freezer space, you're low on fridge space, like you just don't need to rely on that. Let's say we lose electricity for whatever reason. Not thinking about World War III or anything, but like, what are we going to do with like all this food that we can't store anymore? So if you have your own chickens, boom, there you go, for a month. They can just lay there.
For sure.
Yeah, the one of the creepiest things, or not creepy, it was just different things I've ever seen. When we were in Italy, I was at a grocery store, and their eggs are on pallets, not in the refrigerated section. It's like
Just
literally in an aisle, like every other aisle that you've ever been into. They're just sitting there like in crate. It's like a big,
Probably just
like,
unwashed, good.
yeah. They just had the bloom on them still. And that's how they buy eggs there.
That's
You
awesome.
obviously want to get like the gross stuff off of them, but like Colton said, you dry brush them. And our friend has a Bevan Wade. They have like the cylinder thing on their counter, and it's awesome because I mean it's like this tall, and they've
Just
got
send a
like
picture or something.
Yeah, I'll have to grab a picture. They've got like 30 eggs on it, like
just hanging out there.
and it's not taking up a lot of counter space.
That's cool.
Nice. Well, Colton, you guys don't just have chickens, do you? Maybe.
What do you mean?
Do you have ducks?
No,
Oh.
not yet.
Okay.
We are. My mother-in-law
pipe?
is planning to get
Oh,
some
okay,
ducks.
okay.
We had a duck that we think was eaten
no.
by some sort of creature. So.
That stinks.
Sorry, duck.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Same with Daisy.
Sorry, Daisy.
Daisy duck.
But yeah, you got to be kind of careful integrating stuff too.
Like just mixing ducks and chickens.
Will
you
they
mean?
cross pollinate?
They will not, to my knowledge, but if you are not careful with the water, like if their water goes dry, they start to attack whatever's weakest. So like we had a situation.
Ducks will?
Chickens.
Okay.
So when our water ran dry for a day, and all of the chickens attacked and almost killed the duck. Like they gang up on.
Haven't you guys watched
weakest
Chicken
link.
Run?
Yeah.
Dude, chickens
I have
are
not.
basically little velociraptors with feathers.
That's
what they are.
Yeah.
They are, yeah. Yeah, well, let's chat of just real quick about not chicken eggs.
Okay.
It's like the other types of eggs. And
What in the quail?
what in the quail? So, yeah. So
I'd say start. So why don't you start with those since we just had them?
Yeah, we had some quail eggs. So like Andy said, like most butcher shops, farmers market type things, like always typically carry eggs. I was at one such establishment here in town and found the cutest little box of quail eggs, and I bought them, and they're on the counter over there. I should probably go get them to show them off here. But we tried them, and really stinking good, but they were hard to crack up into a
And
skillet.
tiny.
This guy's over here
These
giving me
things are
giving me hell about what
They're
I'm
so
doing.
tight. They weren't like an inch. They're like an inch in diameter.
They're
if
so
that.
small.
I love that you guys cook those tiny little things in my tiny
Tiny little
little
cast
cast iron skillet.
Yeah, and we didn't take any pictures. We failed at socials.
Well, yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, these eggs are ridiculously tiny, but just speckled and just super cool. It was like 90% yolk, wasn't it?
They were good. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so we cracked them open, and like the shells just broke instantly. Like that's super flexible, but that membrane was like leather. Like we could not crack it open. Like we
I had
need
to pinch a hole and like basically squeeze it out.
I think for the
into
rest
it.
of the rest of the eggs, like we might need like little scissors to cut it open, because like I destroyed my yolk, and I'm sitting here like making fun of Andy, thinking he was
we scrambled
we scrambled one. It was a test. Yeah, we had to do
both.
multiple styles of eggs, but we cooked one just. Well, it was over medium at that point. It just it cooked so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, really rich. I mean, what did you guys think of the quail? I mean,
it was super good.
Yeah, just
really good, richer than normal. But to me, I didn't notice a taste difference. It just tasted like there was more yolk than
and a lot of butter.
I thought it was a little bit more. I mean, like is smooth the right word? Like it was almost like more mellow.
Yeah.
Than a chicken egg.
I want to.
I don't know what that
I'm
means,
trying hard not to compare it to the next version of egg you're about to talk about, because I feel like it's more similar to a duck egg in my experience. But
it almost tasted like more dense.
Yes.
Dense. Yeah. Like if you dehydrate it a little bit, like it's.
Yeah, I could kind of get on board with that.
But I think that has to do a lot with the yolk to white ratio. Is there a better name for the egg whites? Is there a name for egg whites?
Yeah,
egg white.
I'm sure there
egg
is.
whites.
Egg whites.
Somebody write in. Tell us the name of an egg white
for a non-egg, or for it would be an egg white.
Yeah,
it'd be an egg white.
Like to me, if I was going to use a quail egg for something, it would be for like presentation purposes. I don't know if I'd like go to the trouble to like just scramble a bunch of quail eggs to
you
eat.
need like 30 of them for one.
Yeah.
A decent meal.
But the flavor, I mean, it was good.
Yeah, it was great.
Honestly, just that one little fried one on top of a piece of steak.
Ooh,
dude, if you do like a little crostini type appetizers, like that'd be awesome. Like,
yeah.
Especially if you could master somehow like the art of like cooking one like over easy, like keeping that yolk runny still, but it'd be like 10 seconds on the skillet.
With how hard that membrane was, imagine trying to do a
lot of those
hard boiled.
Doing more than 3 of those.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my word, no. It wouldn't happen. We might try it though.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking like some like Eggs Benedict, like with a little tiny quail egg, like that'd be super cute.
That'd be difficult.
No, way too much work. But yeah, so on the not duck or I ruined it. The not chicken topic, duck eggs. Yes. We talked about ducks already with Colton, but somebody describe how would you describe the flavor of a duck egg compared to a chicken? I mean, they're a little bit bigger, but
a little bit bigger, yeah.
I mean, the yolk to white ratio is about the same as a chicken.
Yeah.
Probably.
If you saw a duck egg not next to a chicken egg, you could easily confuse it with a chicken egg. But as soon as you saw one next, like if you've seen that, it's bigger. So, but from a flavor profile, I feel like
it's about 50. Would you say about 50% bigger?
Maybe 30 to 50% bigger. Yeah. On average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, flavor wise, like how do we pinpoint like a duck flavor? It's just
richer.
Yeah.
That's probably the only word.
Well, I kind of trying to think about like not that this comes from their fat at all, but if you think about like the richness that you get from a duck fat is so good. So it's kind of like getting that same type of idea, if you will, from if you were to add that richness to a chicken egg, that's what a duck egg would kind of how I would describe it, I guess.
Yeah.
We and the yolk is a lot bigger in duck. It's kind of similar in that regard, I guess, to the quail eggs.
The ratio is different.
Yeah, the ratio is a lot larger.
Yeah,
yolk to white, which I hear from my wife makes them a lot better for baking.
We'll experiment there.
We're I mean, obviously, like I don't eat a lot of duck egg, but where do you get them? Where can you get them?
My uncle's neighbor.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't know.
From a duck.
Cory, come on.
Obviously.
No, that's a good question. I mean,
I'm assuming.
It's been
do
a
you
long
see him
while.
often at farmers markets?
I mean, the only other place I've seen him before is what's that Oriental restaurant? Not restaurant, but like that
Saraga.
Yeah,
Saraga.
sometimes they'll have them.
International grocery store.
Yeah.
International grocery store. There we go.
Yeah.
That'd be a better way of
Okay.
doing it. Because
I can see them having duck eggs.
They have. That's the only place I've ever seen them in a store. I've seen them before at butcher shops. I've seen them before at farmers markets, but very rarely. It's usually you have to know.
If I had to go somewhere tomorrow to buy a duck egg at a store, like Saraga, I'd probably start there. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know where I'd go.
Duck eggs are really good over easy too. I feel like,
so good.
I mean, just my opinion, obviously, but I feel like it's criminal to like cook the yolk on a duck egg.
Yeah.
They're
You can go chase down a duck somewhere out in the field.
Yes. So from this establishment, I bought the quail. It was smoking Goose the Market.
Oh yeah.
They've got a little farmers market section. I was talking to one of the workers there, and they said that duck eggs can probably be eaten by somebody with an egg allergy. Like they say, most people, according to this worker, I haven't fact checked this at all, so I don't know.
Do your own research.
Somebody write in and do this experiment for us and tell us. But yeah, they said like most egg allergies, like it's only focused on chickens.
Interesting.
So I need to know. I don't have anybody in my family.
I do.
With a.
Is
it an allergy?
We'll have to
or is
watch
it
Chris to eat
sensitivity?
one of these, and Chris has a sensitivity too. We'll have her eat one and just stare at her for an hour or so.
So what actually happens? Like, is it
Does she
going to be
have
bad?
Does she have an EpiPen?
No, she doesn't need EpiPen or anything.
Can I
like
stab
that.
her in the
It's
chest with it?
Yeah, we can try. But she doesn't need EpiPen or anything. It's just an intolerance, and it'll make it just makes the next
won't be a
couple
fun
of days.
afternoon.
Yeah,
She
she
gets
feels
sick.
like she just feels gross, and then like eventually
Yeah.
she gets skin issues. Like she'll like get
Yeah,
like
rashes
She gets
and
like rashes that'll happen either on her nose or on her arms. But as soon as she pulled all that stuff out of her, that and gluten. But she worked with a physician that did some testing on it. But like we wouldn't it just says sensitivity to eggs. It doesn't say like chicken eggs or.
If she's willing, I really want to know.
I doubt she is, but we can try.
we can sneak
What
some
do we
eggs.
need to bribe her with?
I don't know. A lot of Italian
sourdoughs.
wine. So no Italian wine. She can't eat bread. She can't have the gluten.
Oh, that's true.
But according to sourdoughs, you can apparently have sourdough. So we just start. She'll be a little hamster.
Make an egg sandwich, duck egg on a sourdough.
Eat
Just
it.
do it
Test
one,
eat it and
all of them at
watch.
once.
one
Oh,
swoop.
no.
Yeah. One thing that we didn't talk about or we didn't have, which has become increasingly popular, is ostrich eggs.
Oh, I want to try one so
Bro,
bad.
I just want to. Yeah.
I saw somebody do a deviled ostrich egg.
Oh my gosh.
Like
That'd be so much.
that's
food.
like 14. It's easily 14 to 20 eggs worth
Yeah,
of
yeah.
deviled egg. Oh my gosh.
I just
I've
want
never
one that
heard
I
of
can
anybody
scramble.
eating an ostrich egg.
Well, I held one when I was down in Texas. Last time I was down in Texas, I held an ostrich egg. One of the facility we hunt at has some exotics. They have an ostrich, and it had it was like something had broken into the actual egg, so it had died. So he had turned up, but he had the shell still, and Jacob threw it to us, and he literally took it up and threw it to us like a basketball. And you're thinking like an egg, like this isn't gonna shatter. It's hard.
Yeah.
They're super hard. It was
Really?
a wild thing. It felt like I was holding a dinosaur egg. It was crazy.
Yeah,
It was,
people like you use something to. You got to
Yeah.
use something to
Oh,
crack
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the guy on oh gosh, there's a show, he ferments a bunch of stuff. Super cool guy. I'm blanking on his name.
Ferments a bunch
Oh
of stuff.
gosh, what is his name? I can see his face plain as day. We'll bleep this out. But he
No, we won't.
I'm pretty sure we say something like that
Dude,
every episode.
every episode,
It's
yeah.
always in there.
no, he's an awesome guy.
Maybe it'll come to you. You have this. Wonder if we had a machine.
He cures an ostrich egg like in salt, and it was like ridiculous.
Interesting.
Brad? It's not Brad, is it?
You're literally holding the computer.
Which,
I don't know what I would type.
Chris, was
I
that
can't think of his name.
was that you that cured egg yolks a couple years
I did,
ago?
yeah.
Yeah,
It was
you should
interesting.
explain
yeah,
that
it
real
was.
quick.
So salt cured egg yolks. You're basically just put a layer of kosher salt, make a little divot, separate the white and the yolk from an egg, and just real gently just put that egg in the divot of the salt, and just cover it. Brad Leone.
Bro, I feel like you're just making stuff.
Google Brad Leone. It just clicked. Yeah,
This
he
guy?
does an awesome. Yes,
Is that him?
Brad Leone. Yeah,
You got
awesome content. I can't believe I forgot his name.
Wow.
Brad
Sorry,
Leone.
Brad.
You said Brad Leone.
Yeah.
Leone. We'll put it on the screen here. Yeah, but,
Yeah.
yeah, he's super cool guy. Yeah, he played with ostrich egg at one point.
That's awesome.
Yeah, cured it. But yeah, eventually, I forget how long I left it in there. Maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and it just basically the salt just sucks all the moisture out of the egg, but it's not quite dehydrated, so it's almost like a
Cured egg yolks.
yeah. Watch the cured egg
Found
yolks
it.
by Brad Leone.
It's on his YouTube page. From
yeah,
January
it's like-
9th, 2020.
Awesome flavor. Like obviously it's really salty because like you brush and you don't want to wash off the salt, but you get all the salt off you can. But like just you can almost grate it on anything. It's like I grated it onto like fresh pasta. It's like almost like like a cheesy quality.
Oh, okay.
But it's still like it's egg yolk, so it doesn't lose that flavor. But it just like is super concentrated and just
I was just eating them plain when you gave them to me.
Did you eat one?
Yeah, just plain.
Oh, you just ate it?
Yeah. It's very salty.
Yeah, so that's a lot.
It's like eating a ham hock plain.
I think they're awesome, but like I don't know how often I would actually use them. Like maybe on a fancy dish for like garnishing stuff.
Yeah,
it could be a fun
pasta. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Pasta.
Just a fun, different thing to try.
Yeah. Well, on that note, like let's talk about like how we like to use our eggs. Yeah. So I know Andy, you're a big egg fan.
Yeah, I am. I'm a huge proponent of eggs.
Yeah.
So I eat eggs every morning. I eat usually 4. Usually it's 2 full, 2 egg whites. But I love to vary how I cook my eggs. So I literally probably prepare my eggs in every way that you could probably prepare eggs. My go-tos are obviously a scrambled egg is great. I love making an omelet. It's like one of my very favorite things to do because especially if you have like those of us who have a lot of wild game, it's a great way to put the ground meat into it. There's just so much you can do with an omelet with vegetables. It's just a very versatile thing. It's a great way to make a really big filling meal out of stuff that's maybe kind of smaller. But so my go-tos are definitely scrambled eggs, omelets, and then over easy eggs. I mean, you just can't beat it. Like Colton kind of already said it. Like,
dude, eggs are like
so
ridiculous in like how versatile they are.
Yeah.
I mean, just like baking, like you said yourself, like Crystal, like eggs are in everything,
and it's her biggest challenge.
But like just like the fact that you can, I mean, poached, scrambled, hard boiled, like omelet, like all of those just literally taste different.
Well, and casseroles, desserts,
yeah,
custard, ice cream, it's like
it's in a lot of like pasta dishes too, especially in Italy, like a lot of that egg yolks are used in that too. So I mean, it's just, I mean, there's so many different ways to do it, but my go-to is primarily it's in the breakfast time of things. But I mean, the beauty of it is that especially if we talked about it at the top of the episode, if you are trying to get your protein up, it's really it's a really good way to have some variety and still hit those numbers.
Dude, I'll be honest, like eggs in the morning is like probably the best.
Every day.
Like hands down the best breakfast. And I'll fight anyone on that.
I'll fight you.
I love making a good.
That's why I wore the shirt today. It says fight or fight.
Fight or flight.
It says fight.
Fight or fight. Oh, he crossed off the L.
Yes. I love making breakfast sandwiches with an over easy egg on it. If it's in the messier it is, the better.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's got to be runny yolk.
Yeah.
A bagel sopped up in that.
That's why I can't do a full-time beard because I don't like digging the egg yolk out of the hairs and worth it.
Yep.
I don't know about that. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think, have I talked about it yet? A couple cooks. There are a couple of cooks here in town.
You've talked about them before.
They do some awesome content, but they have an egg recipe that I just will never not use. Like anytime I'm cooking breakfast and I have time, it's just you're frying an egg in olive oil, and you like put some chive flowers in there. And
I don't want you to necessarily go through a full recipe, but like when you say fry it, I mean, how much oil are we talking about? Then you drop it in
enough to like float the egg.
Okay.
And then like you want, like when you pick up the skillet, you want to kind of like turn it a little bit so all that oil floats to the side, and then you want to like take a spoon and like baste the oil on top of the egg. So as long as you have enough oil to like throw it on top of the egg, and so the egg's in there and it's cooking in the super hot oil, and like the bottom, like, and I never flip it either, so the bottom gets pretty crispy, like especially those edges, like really crispy egg white edges. Oh gosh, that's so good. But then the top, like the yolk never fully solidifies because you're just like flipping the oil on top.
Gotcha.
And then I know the egg is done basically when the egg white that's coating the top of the yolk, like when that turns white, like I pull it from the heat.
Pull it.
And it's just like the whites are just perfect, like the perfect amount of hardness inside, but still crispy on the edges. And that the yolk is just super runny. And Hopefully you've got some chives in there. Just all that flavor is just melding together. And
so it's essentially what I texted you guys the other day. It's just using olive oil instead of water.
Probably.
Because that's what I do.
You just steam. Yeah,
but it's just more of like a
covered.
And,
well, yeah, that's the thing. I cover it, but I bet you wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
But I think it just makes it cook faster.
Mm. Oh, it definitely does.
But yeah, it's just when you're doing an over easy egg, you just throw in depending on how many eggs you have in there, probably like a quarter cup of water, and it almost kind of floats the egg, you know, so it's not sticking to the pan. And then by the time all that water cooks off, it just slides right onto the plate.
Yeah.
That's super good.
Yes.
Colton?
Yeah, over easy. I tried Chris's method, and it's awesome.
So it's not my method. It's a couple cooks method. I stole it from them.
It's interesting. Eggs are one of those weird things where I feel like we all just... It's such an easy thing to make. You just assume there's only one way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've always just fried eggs in oil and pop the yolk and flip them. And then Chris told me
pop the yolk and then flip them.
No, that's just how I learned.
Okay.
I don't do that because I like a runny yolk. But I've never.
I was about to yell at you.
I've never not flipped them before Chris told me this. Even my over easy eggs, I used to always flip still.
I flip mine. My over easy eggs.
If I'm doing it just in butter, real quick, I'll flip them.
And
I've stopped flipping. I don't flip anymore. I haven't for probably a few years.
Just flip free.
Yeah.
Flip free.
I don't flip the birds.
But yeah, my favorite.
I do.
I'm like Andy. I eat eggs every morning, but just my favorite non-breakfast item is I do Eggs Benedict. So do a hollandaise with them too, and I think it's the only time I do poached eggs is in an Eggs Benedict. Yeah. I know there's a lot of variations of that. Yeah. I haven't tried.
Now that is one of the dishes. It's my favorite to get out at restaurants. That's a good. If you're a good breakfast spot, you better be able to do it. Yeah, but it takes some skill. So it's a good test.
There's my wife is a big fan of crab cake Benedict. So we do those for dinner every now and again.
Roost Cafe has a good one.
Yeah,
check it out.
Check it out.
I like doing especially if I have a lot of people over. Have you ever had omelet in a baggie?
Yes.
Yeah, man, it's great. Especially having the home that we are blessed to have. We have a lot of people over a lot, and we have this thing that we do every year with a group of our friends and their kids, and they come over and it's for New Year's Eve. And it's just a good place to have all the kids and all the parents. We all stay the night. Everyone spends the night. And then we'll get up and you get a baggie and you put you Sharpie your name on it. You get a pot of boiling water going, and then you go through and you get maybe a couple eggs in there. You throw all your fixings in there, whatever, zip it up, and then you can literally make 20 people's omelets in one go, and it just cooks in the Ziploc bag.
You put them in boiling water, right?
Boiling water, and you put the baggies in boiling water, and then you can. So working at a summer camp. We were the closest house to the camp that had AC before all the cabins started to get AC. So we would have 20, 30, 40 college kids at our house in the AC, and that's what my mom would make for them. And it's awesome because you just make an assembly line, and it's a great, easy way to get a lot of people a good meal.
Yes. Dude, on that note, so I know we're going to do a camp-specific episode at some point here, but we've alluded to pudgy pies in the past. And one of my all-time favorite things to do camping is a breakfast pudgy pie.
Ooh.
So if you're not familiar with pudgy pies, just Google a pie iron. And it's essentially a grilled cheese, with crimped edges. And then instead of cheese, you would put whatever you want. You typically a pie filling, but if you just crack an egg in there, throw some onions and pepper, oh my gosh, that thing is heavenly.
That sounds
when you're
awesome.
out camping.
That sounds really good.
Pulling that straight out of the coals. Oh my gosh.
You're talking about what you you enjoy ordering the egg Benny. I really like getting Royales.
What's a
enjoy
Royale?
It's a hamburger. With the egg on it, easy egg on it.
He's talked about this before.
Royale cheese. Can't do the cheese anymore, but Royale I enjoy.
So good.
Trying to see.
Putting an egg on a burger is another great way of using an egg. 100%.
Yep.
You can do that at home when you're grilling burgers, fry an egg up. pop it on top there. Man, it's just something about that combination.
And I would say too, another, you just reminded me, I love some hash with eggs.
Yes.
That is, we used to have a truck here in Indy called Citizens Hash, and they had the best hash I've ever had in my life.
Oh my gosh.
With an over easy egg on top of it.
Nice.
Love it.
Nice.
Yeah,
You can put eggs in just about anything.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steak and eggs, that's probably the best.
Dude, heck yeah.
That's my go-to most of the time. So, I'll the venison specifically, is I'll make those venison backstrap steaks, and just, man, every morning, like they'll already be pre-cooked, so I'll just warming up the steak in the same pan that I'm frying the egg in it, pop it out, put the egg on top of the steak, and just cut through both of them at the same time.
Yes. So good.
I'm excited.
I'm in the
about
minority.
this.
I can't do that.
What?
I like eggs too much, and I like steak too much to combine them.
Have you tried
it makes
this?
sense.
Like,
yeah,
yeah, I
you
have.
gotta just put them together.
But if I'm making a steak, I want to just taste my steak.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'll do that.
Andy's the one that like can't have food
I don't like things
Right.
touching, and I'm telling you, this is the greatest thing ever.
I will
I've done it.
I will add to that and throw in some home fries.
Oh, yeah.
Same.
So that's the other thing. I get my cast irons to go. You were talking about hash. I was going to pass on this, but I have a large cast iron skillet, and I'll start by getting hot and then get the shredded hash browns going in there. Get them at least 1 or 2 flips through, flatten them out, and then once those are getting close to getting done, that's when I'll crack the egg in there, have the steak warming up next to it. My goodness. I don't like things touching, but this is the one exception.
Which
It's the one exception.
Here's a random tip, because my sister was telling me she's been trying to do eggs in her cast iron, and I think we talked about cast irons in our gear episodes. So she was asking me all these questions, and if you're going to cook eggs in a cast iron, use oil and get it nice and hot before you throw them in there.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they
it
just
will stick.
sear
will
on
stick.
that thing.
Yeah.
Like super glue.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice. Well, unfortunately, I think we need to start wrapping it up here. That went really quick. I would love to hear from all the listeners. Tell us how you do your eggs. I don't necessarily need to try new things with eggs, but I want to know, like,
What did we miss?
is there something we missed? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
We get to-
Catalina clubs. We'll talk about that
Talk
sometime.
about that some other time. Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah, write us in. hello@okayestcook.com and Okayest Cook just about everywhere. But Colton is going to talk to us about some Egg Benedict right here, like doing it yourself.
Yeah. I'll share my Eggs
Talk us
Benedict
through the
recipe.
process real fast.
So, I'll focus most of this on the hollandaise sauce, since that's like the most complex part. But just kind of to quickly go through the other pieces. For those of you that don't know, an Eggs Benedict, most people know what it is, but generally the traditional is an English muffin with some ham, a poached egg, and then a hollandaise sauce on top.
So good.
I now I'm going to use Sierra's sourdough English muffin recipe for those.
Yes.
As far as like the ham's concerned, I saw this online. I haven't tried it yet, but some people are using the like really thin like Parma ham and like or prosciutto or something, and just get it nice and crisp to do on there. I generally will just do. I did a venison ham. Was that 2 years ago?
So good. It was awesome.
And I put that on my Eggs Benedict and did like a venison.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. As far as poaching eggs, that's a little tricky sometimes. We kind of touched on it earlier. You want as fresh eggs as possible. If you don't have fresh eggs, a little trick is to try to strain some of that like watery egg yolk off. But with poached eggs, generally the easiest way to do it is bring your water up to boiling and then kind of back it off. And you want it to the point where you don't have that rolling boil anymore, but the water's still hot. And you kind of swirl the water around and drop those eggs in the middle. And then 2 to 3 minutes in there, you'll just, like we always say, experiment. In a good poached egg, you want the white cooked, but you want the yolk runny. And then, that's kind of the base. And then we get into the hollandaise sauce. And there's a million different recipes out there. This is the one that I like the ratio the best. It's pretty easy to do. But you need to get some water boiling in a pan. And you could not... There's a lot of recipes that use a blender or you're doing it right on the stove. I have not had any luck with any of those recipes. So maybe I'm just doing it wrong. I do it the traditional way with a double boiler. You can also use like any stainless steel bowl, any oven safe glass bowl, put it on top of the boiling water, and that's kind of how you're going to cook your hollandaise. But it's 3 large egg yolks and 2 teaspoons of white wine vinegar. You combine those and just whisk really fast in that bowl until that egg should not scramble. If you're doing it right, it should just, you need to be constantly whisking, and it's an intensive process, but that'll kind of double in volume and get thick and creamy. And at that point, you add the rest of the ingredients. Salt and pepper to taste. Some people do a pinch of cayenne. I like a little for heat. But then you do a cup of unsalted butter that's been melted but still hot, but you slowly incorporate it in while and you whisk really fast. If the butter is too hot or too cold, or you're not whisking fast enough, everything will split.
Yeah,
it won't emulsify. And if that happens, it's happened to me. It's an easy trick to like save it is you can just put in a little bit of just boiling water and keep whisking, and it will kind of like re-emulsify everything and get it together. But once you add all that, you're looking for that consistency where like if you dip a spoon in, it should coat the back of the spoon but not drip off. Nice. And that's like the perfect, in my opinion, perfect hollandaise. I'm saying it wrong. But I mean, with all those things, there's a million recipes out there. That's the ratio I like. You know, you can do more or less lemon if you want more acid. You can do more or less salt. You know, play with it, experiment.
Let us know what you think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know your ratios. But dude, a hot tip on this hollandaise and a poached egg, just put it on top of biscuits and gravy.
Ooh.
Holy crap.
And hollandaise you
So
can
good,
put
yes.
on, it doesn't have to be on Eggs Benedict. You can put on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Steamed
Salmon.
asparagus, salmon,
So good,
crab
yeah.
cakes.
It's not good for your heart, but it's good for your soul.
Good for your soul.
Butter and egg yolks. So
It's
yeah,
good
it's
for
not
your
the
soul,
healthiest
What's
option.
not to like?
All right, Cory, send us out of here. Tell us all your egg things. Make some hollandaise. Tell us what you think.
And shout out to our sponsor, Outdoor Edge. Use code OKC20 for 20% off on all their online
buy
items.
some knives. Get ready for hunting season. Crack your quail eggs with some wild game shears. You might need them.